It might sound absurd, but in a world not too different from ours, there were no X-Men. In the early 60s, Marvel launched the Fantastic Four, the Incredible Hulk, and the Avengers, all of which became successful, ongoing franchises. But when X-Men #1 debuted in 1963, the series struggled to find the same level of success. While other Marvel properties flourished, the X-Men never met sales expectations. By 1970, the series was cancelled. Issue number 66 was the last new story, and from issues number 67 to 93, the book survived purely through reprints of older issues with new covers, a common Marvel practice as seen with Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commandos. But the X-Men weren't completely gone. Throughout the early 70s, Marvel kept them in circulation, with sporadic appearances in books like Avengers, Marvel Team-Up, and Amazing Adventures. Then, in 1975, Marvel's editor-in-chief Roy Thomas, who had fond memories of writing the X-Men books, pushed for a revival. The result was Giant-Size X-Men #1, written by Len Wein and illustrated by Dave Cockrum. This landmark issue reintroduced the X-Men with an entirely new team, transforming them from a struggling property into a global phenomenon. Professor X and Cyclops, seemingly the only X-Men left, set out to recruit mutants from around the world to rescue the original team who had gone missing. Instead of being a team of New York-based people born with powers, mutants became a worldwide phenomenon. Most of these new X-Men were original characters, including Storm, Colossus, and Nightcrawler, while two of them were pre-existing Marvel characters, a little-known Hulk antagonist known as Wolverine, and the former X-Men foe, Banshee. The story opens with Nightcrawler, who immediately stands out, not because of his powers, but because his mutation makes him look different. Unlike the original X-Men who could blend into a crowd if they wanted to, Nightcrawler's appearance marks him as an outcast. He agrees to join Professor X after he saves him from an angry mob. Wolverine is a tougher sell. He does work for the government after all. But when he is promised a chance to learn more about his past and what it truly means to be a mutant, he agrees to join. Next up is Banshee, a former X-Men villain who jumps at the chance to help them. No, seriously, unlike almost every other character who at least gets a full page, Banshee joins in just 2 panels. Then there's Storm, who is worshipped as a goddess in Africa, which honestly makes sense. If I saw someone controlling the weather, I'd probably worship them too. I don't really get why she agreed to leave though. Professor X basically just tells her that she's not actually a goddess and that he can help her live in the real world, which, sure, might be true, but why would anyone give up being treated as a god? In Japan, he recruits Sunfire. Or rather, Sunfire recruits himself out of sense of personal duty. Once again, the mutant joins the X-Men in just 2 panels. Then we meet Colossus in a small Soviet village, where he saves his sister from a runaway tractor by transforming into metal and smashing it. Professor X convinces him to leave his family and his Soviet mindset behind by offering him the chance to help the whole world instead of just his country. And finally, there's Thunderbird, a Native American mutant who joins the team because he's dumb. I don't mean to put him down, but Professor X asks him to join, and he responds with, "No, I don't want to help the white man who has taken so much from my people." To which Professor X basically replies, "Maybe the Apache are cowards, just like everyone says," and Thunderbird joins on the spot just to prove him wrong. Once everyone gathers at the mansion, and after Xavier teaches them English through telepathy, Cyclops fills them in. The whole team found a new mutant and flew off to recruit them. They landed on a remote island, something attacked them, and when Cyclops finally woke up, he was already back on the jet with no memory of what happened. The new X-Men aren't exactly thrilled about charging head first into danger without a clue of what's waiting for them. And some of them aren't the easiest personalities to work with, but off to the island they go. They split into pairs because if something managed to take down an entire team at once, there's obviously no way it could be 2 inexperienced mutants at a time. From the moment they set foot on the island, it starts attacking. Vines strangle Cyclops and Thunderbird, a rock slide almost crushes Storm and Colossus, giant crabs go after Banshee and Wolverine, and Nightcrawler and Sunfire get swarmed by killer birds. A temple suddenly appears in the center of the island, because sure, why not? The X-Men break in and find the whole team inside. They free them, and once they recover, they reveal the horrifying truth. The mutant they were looking for is the island itself, and now it is standing up to fight them. Turns out, a nuclear explosion gave the island and all the creatures on it a kind of shared consciousness. The reason it let Cyclops go was so he would bring back more mutants that the island could feast on. The X-Men try to fight it, but they can't win. Even Professor X tries to take control of its mind, but it overpowers him. That's when Polaris and Storm, one old school X-Men, one new recruit, combine their magnetic and electrical powers to create an electromagnetic blast that shoots from the island straight into the Earth's core. The energy launches the island into space, but not before the X-Men manage to escape inside an ice bubble created by Iceman. And that's how the first Giant-Size X-Men issue ends. Despite its quirks, Giant-Size X-Men number 1 was a game changer, paving the way for the X-Men to become Marvel's biggest franchise in the decades that followed. With the same creative team, joined and replaced by Chris Claremont and John Byrne, the X-Men went on to become a massive sensation. Everything that followed, the first and second Phoenix Sagas, Days of Future Past, and the Claremont era as a whole, can be traced back to this one book. Giant-Size X-Men number 1 didn't just revive the X-Men, it changed them forever. This issue is a doozy. At first I thought it was funny that all the characters conveniently knew English, but then I noticed this speech bubble explaining that Charles Xavier did some mind meddling. The problem is, he still spoke with all of them before this was mentioned, so either he is ridiculously fluent in 6 languages, or mind communication is universal. How the hell did he enter and leave Soviet Russia with no resistance? I get that Len Wein wanted a character from the enemy Soviet Russia, especially during a period of relaxation between the US and the USSR, but at least add a bubble stating that Charles mind-controlled the guards. Also, there are always debates about who qualifies as a mutant. We've had mutant dogs, dinosaurs, even robots. But it's hilarious that so early in the X-Men mythology, the writer just went, yeah, anything can be a mutant, even an entire island along with all the plants and animals on it. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's always fun to revisit these monumental issues. Be sure to come back next week as I return to a more consistent uploading schedule with an exploration of Days of Future Past. Keep reading comics, and I will see you again next time.